Well, good morning and a very happy Wednesday morning to everyone. Hopefully, wherever you're listening to our podcast and watching it, you're having a great day, at least having a good start to your week. And again, we started last week going 3 days a week. We're on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. And of course, I always look forward to your comments. We got a lot to cover today on the Padres. Holy Toledo. Last couple of days have been very, very interesting. They're 1-1. They got the rubber game coming up this afternoon up in Sacramento against the Athletics. And they're not the Sacramento Athletics or the Sacramento A's. They're the Athletics playing in Sacramento. I just want everybody to make sure that they understand that it's Sutter Health Park. Looks like kind of a fun spot. One thing for the fans, you're right on top of the action. There's no question about that. And I talked to a couple of people that are working the series up there, and they said, it's a minor league park, but the fans seem to be having a good time. They're really close to the players, and hey, it is what it is. I can understand playing there for 1 year, but having to play there possibly 3 years, probably not the best case scenario to try to acquire free agents, I wouldn't think. But nonetheless, we got a lot to cover today on the program. As always, want your comments, and we got a lot of things that uncover with our San Diego Padres, and I'm sure there are a lot of opinions out there, but just a quick reminder, we're on 3 platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on X. You can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera. You can follow me on X at Coach Kentera 44. And all 3 platforms have places where you can make comments about the show, about the Padres, about anything going on in San Diego sports. And you can find us a couple of different ways. You can just type in San Diego Sports Talk, and we normally pop up. You can go San Diego Sports Talk, John Kentera, or just go John Kentera Show. So I want to make sure that you can get whatever you want out of our podcast, and we really appreciate it. And again, really, if you would, it doesn't cost a dime, please subscribe. And please, if you like the program, please hit like. Very much appreciate that. We're trying to grow our audience out there. And I think more and more Padre fans are sure and that, hey, Coach is on. Coach is on 3 days a week, and he can talk Padre baseball with you. So here we are today on this Wednesday. And we're going to start off Padres. Let's face it, not a great road trip right now. They're 2-3. They got the rubber game of their series against the Athletics later today. Randy Vasquez is going to be on the mound going against right-hander Osvaldo Bido. And Beto, not a bad pitcher, off to a pretty good start, 1-0 or 2.70. Randy Vasquez coming off a not so great outing in Chicago, 0-1 and a 1.69, but walked 5 hitters in that game against the Cubbies. So he needs to do a little bit better. But we got to start with Jackson Merrill. And once again, this is one of these things. Padres, they sat him out in the first game. Well, we're going to get ahead of it. We're not gonna rush him back out there. Well, now all of a sudden we find out yesterday he goes on the 10-day IL. Now here's what we need to look at with Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill is playing a premium position, center field, and playing as good as anybody in baseball. Off to an awesome start. 37 at bats, hitting 378, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, and an OPS of 1,091. So he goes on the IL. Right hamstring strain. Got to be careful with that. No question about it. Now, they retroacted the move to April 7th because he didn't play on Monday, and he played on Sunday. So they retro it to April 7th. What does that mean? Well, he's going to miss 9 games, but he's going to get 11 days off. They got an off day on Thursday, and then they have another off day after their series against the Chicago Cubs. And he'll be eligible to return when they go down to Houston. I think it's April 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So he'll be ready for that road trip, hopefully against Houston and Detroit. Got to get him back in there. I'm going to get back to Jackson Merrill in a minute. Now, last night, if things weren't bad enough, the Padres, they lose Jake Cronenworth, before he goes out to play second base in the third inning last night. He got cramps in his rib cage. Remember, he got drilled over the weekend in Chicago, and he had a contusion. And then last night, after he took that swing and didn't run the ball out, which you knew there was something bad. One or two things. When I was watching the game on TV last night, he hit the ball. I think he went to first or second. I can't remember. But anyways, he didn't run. And I figured, you know what? Maybe it went off his foot, and that's why he didn't run. But no, it didn't go off his foot. Didn't even come close to going off his foot. He just winced in pain because he had a cramp in his right side, and it was from a contusion he suffered on Sunday. So he's listed day to day. I think he's going to be fine. Let's cross our fingers on that. Then Fernando, takes a swing and winces because of that left shoulder that he had surgically repaired, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. And, he came back and, played last year after the surgeries and the PED suspension. He came back and, he was back in there. And, then he has to leave after sliding into third base. He aggravated the shoulder. So they're saying it's a shoulder discomfort. And let's pray on this one. This one's a little concerning to me. Okay, so he's probably not going to play today, and they get an off day tomorrow. So Cronenworth's going to be out of the lineup today, I would imagine, unless he talks his way into the lineup. I don't know if the Padres really allow guys to talk their way into the lineup like the old days. Their training staff seems to carry a lot of weight, and players, I don't know how much say they have. I think Manny probably has a lot of say. I think Manny would say, "Hey, I'm in the lineup. I'm hitting third or fourth, and I'm in the lineup." But I'm not sure a lot of the other players have a say. So I'm expecting today when the lineup comes out. Today, I'm not expecting Cronenworth in it, and I'm definitely not expecting Fernando in it. And we know Jackson Merrill's going to be out for 10 days. 9 games he's going to miss. Okay. How do you replace Jackson Merrill? Well, first of all, you don't replace Jackson Merrill. You don't have anybody on the roster other than Fernando that's in the same ballpark. Okay, now people last night when the game got started, they had Lockridge out there. They had Jason Hayward eventually came in for Fernando in right field. Those are your two options right now. Okay, you've got Brandon Lockridge, who's a journeyman. He's done a nice job in his role. But now, if you expand his role, is he going to be as effective? The guy plays hard. I got to say that. This dude plays hard, and he hustles down. He can flat out run. He's hitting 222 in limited playing time. The bat's a question. Can he hit enough? Probably not. But can you ride with him for another 8 games? Yeah, you probably could. But, some of the other guys are going to have to pick it up. Jason Hayward, can he still play center field? Not sure. I think he's better suited probably for left field at this point in time. And the obvious choice would be Fernando. But then last night he tweaks his left shoulder. And again, the big thing with Fernando, we got to keep him on the field. And putting him in center field, man, there's a lot more he's got to cover out there. You got to go to the right center field gap, the left center field gap, a lot more running. And, I don't want to put him into a bubble. You got to go out there and play. But we got to keep this guy in the lineup. So I would ask you right now, what do you do? If you're Mike Schilt and AJ Preller, what are you doing? I don't think you're going to go out and make a trade assuming that Jackson Merrill's only going to be out for 8 more games. I think you got to ride with what you have. Now, they brought up Oscar Gonzalez yesterday, who's a corner outfielder. He's not a center fielder. I felt bad for him. They stuck him in the game, and all of a sudden he made an error right away. The guy just barely got off the plane from El Paso, and he walks into the dugout. Next thing you know, he's in the game, and then he goes 0 for 1, and then they pinch hit for him. So that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird. They started Jose Iglesias out there in left field last night. His first career start in the outfield. Actually played pretty well in the short time he was there, and then he ended up having to move into second base to take over for Cronenworth when he didn't come out to play defense in the 3rd inning. So, I mean, these are the things you have to navigate when you're running a major league ball club. And, the Padres got a talented group. And then even last night, they get beat 10-4, but Martin Maldonado, who we're not expecting a whole lot out of offense, he went 3 for 4 last night. I mean, Maldonado's not going to hit 300 plus all year, but, you take what you can get. And Elias Diaz, I mean, those guys have not been a problem. Those 2 catchers have not been an issue to this point. But now you're getting into the season. I mean, it's like the Dodgers got their problems. They got Freddie Freeman on the IL. Blake Snell couldn't make a start. And saw what happened last night. They got lambasted once again by the Washington Nationals. You see the guy that lambasted him? One of the guys that went in the Juan Soto deal. Man, I'll tell you, I watched the Dodger game the other day, and C.J. Abrams wasn't playing. But remember, C.J. Abrams made the All-Star team last year. But I watched Mackenzie Gore the other night. Holy Toledo, boy, he's developing into being a really nice pitcher. And James Wood, he had 2 homers last night and drove in 5 runs. Another guy that went in that deal. I mean, at the end of the day, I got to say, well, we got Juan Soto for a year and a half, but man, long term, Washington made out like a burglar. Those 3 guys can flat out play. And I know Robert Hassel was in that deal, and I was never a big believer that Robert Hassel was going to be a great big league player. A lot of other people were, but I wasn't. He's scuffling down in the minor leagues, and I don't know if he'll ever get up there, but those other 3 guys, man, they're pretty damn good players. And we gave up a lot long term for the short term of going with Juan Soto. But hey, you know what? They got to the NLCS, came up just a little bit short of the World Series that first year. And then the second year, was a disaster. And then last year, without Juan Soto, the boys made a hell of a run. But, I would ask you right now, if you're Mike Schilt penciling out that lineup today, what the hell are you going to do? I mean, you're looking down the bench for some healthy bodies today. And the other thing, from what I understand, and I talked to somebody after the game last night that was covering the game in Sacramento, and what was interesting last night, Mike Schilt, they didn't, on the Padres TV, they didn't run Mike Schilt's post game. And I don't know why. And last night was a night that you want to make sure you hear from the manager on the injuries to Cronenworth and to Tatis. And there was no post game. I was watching my buddy Bob Scanlon, who's doing a great job, man. They got him doing a million different things now. He does the post game show on the road, and Bobby's a great, hardworking guy. I read Orsillo got a long-term contract. Mark Grant, I don't know. I haven't read anything about Bob Scanlon getting a contract extension. I don't know. Maybe his contract's not up at the end of the year, but man, that guy, he works his tail off, and he's a good friend of mine. And boy, he's a real pro. I can tell you that. He gets out there, man. He works his tail off. But he was waiting for the post game last night, and Mike Schilt never showed up. And I don't know if because of the ballpark, if they had technical difficulties taping it. I don't know. They had it the night before. But last night, I wanted to hear from the skipper, and I didn't hear from the skipper, so I had to make some phone calls. And it sounds like they're optimistic. They're crossing their fingers, and hopefully it's day to day right now, and they're going to reevaluate today. Neither Cronenworth or Fernando are going to go on the IL. Man, that would be brutal. Now, obviously, Iglesias can play second base. And I know he went 0 for 4 last night, struck out one time, but the guy's a proven major league hitter. He's not going to hit with the power of Cronenworth, but he's going to not hurt you defensively at all. In fact, he may be as good, if not better, at second base than Cronenworth. And Jose Iglesias, for many years, played shortstop. He's a gifted defender. Yeah, I guess I say he's gifted, but he worked his tail off to be a great defender. And we've already seen a couple of great plays he's made. One day he was filling in for Manny. He made an unbelievable play at third base in one of our home games. So that's where we're at right now with the Padres. I mean, they're overall they're playing good baseball. Last night, Dylan Cease was brutal. There's no other way to tell you. That was his worst start of his major league career. He'd had 2 other starts in his career where he gave up 8 runs. But last night, he was throwing the ball right down the middle of the plate. And, Mike Schilt, God love him. He's always, well, the ball was coming out of his hand good. Well, yeah, it was coming out of his hand good, but it was going right down the middle of the plate. And one thing about Oakland or Sacramento or the A's, they're not afraid to swing the bat. They're not up there looking to draw walks. And it was pitch after pitch after the pitch was right down Broadway. And even there were a couple of pitches that were inside, they were able to turn on. He had nothing last night. I mean, his numbers last night were just numbers you never want to see again. Worst outing of his career. How about this? 4 innings, 9 earned runs, 9 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. His ERA climbed to 7.98. I mean, seriously, he missed his spots all night long, and his record now 1-1. He's got to be better. He's got to be better. And, they scored 3 runs in the top of the first. I went, oh, man, this is great. Maybe you get this game, we maybe, sweep these guys and, get an off day and come home and get ready to take on the Colorado Rockies and really get on a big run. And then all of a sudden, the A's come up with 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning. And from then on, it was Katie bar the door. I mean, it was their night. I mean, Yuki Matsui, they barely got back from a commercial break, and you saw this ball launched to right field by J.J. Bleday. And that was late in the ball game. Game was already decided, and that made it 10-4. But man, last night Dylan Cease was just awful. And I guess if you want to look at the bright side, he was at least able to get through 4 innings to give the bullpen a little bit of a break. I mean, Alec Jacob, I thought, threw the ball real well last night. Matsui, the 1 inning, 2 hits, he gave up that home run, and then Peralta, Wandy Peralta's doing great. Last year he had an ERA of 3.99. And this year, so far, with the inning last night and a strikeout, he's got 0.00. I mean, some of the guys in the bullpen are pitching really well. Now, the problem is you're having to go to them way too much early in the year. But, last night, offensively last night, the Padres had 11 hits. Oakland, I keep wanting to call them Oakland. They out-hit the Padres last night, 13-11. I'm just looking at the offense last night. Luis Arraez getting the job done again. 3 more hits. He's got 9 hits on this road trip. I mean, he's playing great baseball, and now he's got his average. And this is what where you, as a fan, you got to sit back and relax. Somebody wrote to me the other day and said, hey, Coach, when Arraez was 0 for 13, did you think the Padres should bench him? And I wrote back, no. The guy's won 3 consecutive batting titles. And now he's got a healthy thumb. He's going to be fine. And now this guy's red hot. I mean, he is red hot right now. And he is hitting now 313. 313 on the, and I said he had 9 hits. I think he's got 11 hits, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he's getting hits faster than I can count them right now. So he's doing a great job. Manny last night, I got to mention this. Manny hits the home run, and it was his first home run of the year. Hit it to right field. And it was a beautiful swing. And then his next 4 at-bats were brutal. I mean, they just, that left-hander Springs, he twisted Manny in knots a couple of times with that changeup. Manny ended up going 1 for 5. He had a weak pop-up, and he had 3 strikeouts and looked bad doing it. I don't know. I mean, it was like Manny, after everything was kind of unraveling around them last night, he just looked out of sorts to me. His body language wasn't good last night. And, you get frustrated. I understand that. But, man, his at-bats were just bad after that home run. Bogarts had a pretty good ball game, 2 for 4, a sac fly, an RBI. Yuli Gurriel. I'll be honest with you. I'm pulling for this guy. I really am pulling for this guy, but I'm not seeing it. Last night he had a double, an RBI double, 1 for 5 and 3 strikeouts. He struck out looking to end the ball game. I'm just not seeing it. I mean, this guy's had a hell of a career. He won an American League batting title. He was on some of those really good Houston Astro ball clubs, but I'm just not seeing it right now. Give me your talk on that. Give me your thoughts. Seriously. And then I mentioned Martin Maldonado, 3 for 4 last night, hitting a wow 353 right now. Wow. How about that? So Padres get beat last night 10-4. Now, Monday night, I didn't think Michael King pitched all that well. I really didn't. But I'm glad he was able to hang in there to pick up the win. He went 5 2/3, gave up 8 hits, 2 walks, had a lot of traffic, 3 runs, both earned, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts, gave up a home run. I think right now he's not the same Michael King yet that we saw a year ago. I think there's times where he's trying to do a little too much on the mound. I mean, his ERA is at 4.05. He's 2-0. That's the bottom line. He's 2-0. His ERA at 4.05. He'll pitch better. But I didn't think he was great the other night. He was good enough to hang in there, for almost 6 innings, but a lot of traffic. And then once again, the bullpen the other night, aside from Estrada giving up that long home run to Soderstrom, um, the bullpen was great. Morejon, a third of an inning. Estrada, an inning, one hit, an earned run. Jason Adam, 1 inning, a hit. And then Bob Suarez, oh man, how good has he been? 1 inning and one strikeout. Right now, his fifth save and his ERA 0.00. Remember all the concerns during spring training about big Bob Suarez? Always liked this guy. From the very, very first time I saw him pitch in spring training a few years ago to even that night when he gave up that long home run on opening night over in Arizona, I've liked this guy. And last year, 38 saves. And he's off to a fantastic start right now. See, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Kyle Hart. And the reason I want to ask you about this is because I think there are a lot of people kind of wondering if this guy can get it done. And my answer to that, I don't know. But I'm not giving up on this guy. I mean, I was looking at his numbers, and I got to be honest with you. I was talking to someone yesterday. I've got an infinity for left-handed pitchers. I guess because when I coached and when I scouted, I had some really good left-handers that got drafted. I had guys that I scouted that were left-handed that got drafted and moved on to the higher levels. But I got an infinity for left-handed pitchers, and there is something that I like about Kyle Hart, but I can't put my finger on it right now. I need to see more. And you look at Kyle Hart's numbers, when he came up, 2020, I think it was, with Boston. I mean, his numbers were terrible. But he went to the KBO. He learned how to pitch. He's 32 years old. It's not like this guy is a rookie. He's 32 years of age. Big guy, 6'5". And, so far, we've seen him in 2 starts. He's 1-0 in his ERA after that last disastrous outing where he lasted 2/3 of an inning, 11.12. Against Cleveland, March 31st, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, both home runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts. And then April 6th at Wrigley Field. And that's big. I mean, even though the guy had pitched a little bit in the big leagues, I'm pitching at Wrigley Field. He'd probably go out there, try to do a little too much, maybe give the hitters a little too much credit. He lasted 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, didn't strike out anybody. So, I guess the question that I have for you out there, where do you stand with Kyle Hart? For me, he's still in the rotation. I'm giving him a few more cracks at the apple. The Padres signed him. He shows up in Peoria. He's throwing in minor league games on the backfield. Then he gets the flu. And then he comes back. First outing, pitched pretty well. Second outing wasn't all that great. Third outing wasn't great. But you know what? I still think he's trying to find his sea legs. And I'm not giving up on him. I really am not at this point in time. I'd like to know where you stand. And I realize as fans, and I'm a fan too, you get frustrated. Oh, man, this guy can't get it done. But, folks, I got to tell you, this game will bring you to your knees. This is a tough game. Football is a tough game physically, but mentally, baseball just wears you down. It's day in, day out, and you go 0 for 4. You go home, you think about it. You come back the next day, you might have a good ball game, or you might go another 0 for 4. And then you got to catch a plane and think about it the entire plane ride. Maybe an off day, you got to sit around and think about it more. It's not easy. I got great compassion for baseball players. It's not, and I know people, oh, well, they're making a lot of money. That's great. But if guys really care about the game, they want to produce. And if you're not producing, you're not going to be around very long, unless you got long-term contracts and you're gonna be able to make your money. But if the game really means something to you, it's going to beat you up. And, for a guy like Kyle Hart, I'm sure he's kind of looking over, so, God, man, I better have a good start this time or I might get sent down. And these guys play with a lot of pressure, especially the guys that have options left. Now, the Padres brought up Oscar Gonzalez last night. He was like, he earned a spot, really, I thought, in spring training. I thought he played great. Most teams, and I've said this, he would have been on their major league roster because he performed. He put up numbers. And he went down to AAA and wasn't down there long. He hit 290 in a brief time down there with 3 homers and 7 RBIs. He earned his call up. He earned it really out of spring training. So, I hope him the very best. But the guys that, are journeymen, the Brandon Lockbridges of the world and the Oscar Gonzalez's of the world. I mean, those guys are always looking over their shoulder. They play with a lot of pressure. They think, man, if I don't get a hit here, I may be set down after the ball game. So, I mean, it'd be like going into a job and knowing that, there are going to be some cuts coming and you're trying to do the best you possibly can, but maybe you're not as good as the guy next to you. And all of a sudden the boss knocks on your door and said, hey, we need to have a conversation. The next thing you know, you're in the unemployment line. So it's not easy. And I get the frustration. I want to see Kyle Hart go out there and, deal for 6 innings in his next start. And I would imagine it's going to be in the first game against Colorado on Friday night. Padres haven't listed a starter, but I'm assuming it's him. We'll wait and see. But I want your opinion on where you're at with Kyle Hart right now. As far as the first 2 games, Padres, they came out and they played a really good game on Monday night last night. Dylan Cease took him out of the ball game. I mean, you get 3 first inning runs, go out there and you got to shut down your opponent. And he gave up 6 runs. Got charged for 9 earnings last night in 4 innings. Wow. ERA just under 8 right now. Not good at all. Not good at all. Okay, we got to take a look at the standings. Then I want to get to some questions. The standings. Let me find, what did I put the stand? Okay, here we are. Padres, 9-3, 2-3 on the road trip. Hey, you know what? You win today, you finish 500 on the road. You'll take that all year long. San Francisco, they've dropped 2 in a row. They're a half game back at 8-3. Bob Melvin got those guys playing pretty good ball. Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers are going to hold a clubhouse meeting at all. They're 9-4. They're a half game back. The Padres are 1-4 on this road trip. They threw Justin Roblinski last night, and he got tattooed. They got beat 8-2. But I don't think they're panicking yet. Now, I'll tell you one thing there. A couple of things, though, about the Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow only lasted 2 innings in his start over the weekend, and Blake Snell had to miss a start with a sore wing. Now, I don't know if they're going to put him on the IL or not, but there's no perfect team out there, by the way. Arizona at 6-6 are 3 games back, and Colorado 2-8, 6 games back. So Arizona 3 games back, but they're back to the 500 mark right now. So Padres in first, Giants in second by percentage points, and LA third, Arizona fourth, Colorado fifth. I just do that to keep people up to date on what happened the night before. But really, I'm not going to look to the standings a whole lot until the end of May. Okay, we're going to get some questions here. And Matthew, thank you very much. That is very, very much appreciated. I thank you very much. Coach, Dodger fan here that loves your commentary on baseball. The NL West is going to be a bloodbath. Yes, it is. And I said, Matthew, right from the beginning, that I thought the Dodgers will win the division. I had Arizona finish in second, and I had the Padres finish in third. But with that, I've got all 3 teams qualifying for the playoffs. I think Padres and Arizona will both get in as wild card teams. Dodgers, when they get all their guys back on the field, they're going to be tough. They got to figure out, though, center field a little bit. Andy Pa has, I know he homered yesterday. He hadn't been playing well. And James Outman down in Oklahoma City, he's not been very good. I think at the end of the day, you're probably going to see Tommy Edman be the center fielder, and they'll figure out what they're going to do at second base. They at least have an option in Hai-Son Kim, who's swinging the bat pretty well in AAA right now. He eventually could come up. So we'll see where that goes. But, missing Freddie Freeman, that's huge. But, Matthew, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Brian Torres, Boltman. Boltman, I love Boltman. King and C seem to struggle against the AAA A's. I'm a little concerned about the top of the rotation. I'm a little concerned, too. I'm concerned about the entire rotation. I really am. And I said Randy Vasquez. I think Nick Pivetta probably going to start that game on Friday night. And then you'll see Kyle Hart probably throw the second game, I think. But Padres haven't said one way or the other. But no, I'm concerned. I haven't liked the way King has really pitched since spring training. I did not think he had a great spring training. And I know numbers don't always tell the story. Guy, well, I made good pitches, blah, 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 blah. But I don't like the way he's pitched. I don't think he's been that great so far. And obviously, Cease has had two very substandard outings to start the year. So, I mean, when your ERA is right around 8, you're not getting too many people out. There's a lot of loud noise when he's out on the mound right now. And I know there were a couple of ground balls, but you know what? You weren't making your pitches. You weren't making quality pitches last night. I mean, a lot of pitches right in the middle of the plate. I mean, it was pitch after pitch after pitch right down Broadway last night. But Brian, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Normally, it seems like every team's depth is getting tested. Boy, that's for sure. I mean, a lot was made about the Dodgers' depth, and they're getting tapped just in 13 games. Well, that's true. But the Dodgers also have tremendous depth in Oklahoma City. They can bring guys up and really not miss a beat. But when you lose the core guys, and I mean, last year they lost Mookie Betts for about 2.5 months. Freddie Freeman, I don't know when he's going to come back. He's not even on the road trip. He didn't go to the White House the other day. But hopefully he gets back soon. I love watching Freddie Freeman play, man. He's a Hall of Fame player. But they're being tested big time right now. And they're not getting a lot of production from center field. Not at all. Right field, Teoscar Hernandez had some big games already. Chris Taylor has been doing a little bit better, but man, he's just not the same player he was like 3-4 years ago. Last year, man, he couldn't hit. And the only reason he's on the roster is that they have a lot of money invested in him. And I think there's also some human feelings. The guy's been a part of some really good Dodger baseball teams, and they just don't want to cast him aside. But yeah, the Dodgers are being tested. But that's why I thought the Dodgers would win the division, because they got more depth than anybody. But once you get to the playoffs, as we saw last year, until the Padres spit the bit, Padres can play with them. Arizona can play with the Dodgers. I mean, look at what Arizona did to the Dodgers 2 years ago in the playoffs. They ripped them right out of the playoffs. So, I mean, Arizona and the Padres and maybe the Giants. I haven't seen the Giants play one game yet. I saw them a little bit in spring training, but I haven't seen them play an actual game yet. But Bob Melvin's got his team playing really well. And I think more than anything else, those guys believe up there. They believe that they can win. And the organization has a lot more enthusiasm. Under Farhan Zaidi, who's now back working for the Dodgers in some capacity, now that they brought in Buster Posey to run baseball operations, there seems to be just a lot of enthusiasm. And I think he's also brought back some of the guys from those championship teams to hang around the ball club. So these guys are playing pretty inspired baseball right now. But Norm, thank you very much. But I totally agree. Everybody's getting tapped right now as far as depth. Tyler, what part of this team needs to improve, Coach, after 12 games so far? Well, I think you got to start with starting pitching. Bullpen's been great. The problem you have right now, Tyler, with the bullpen, they're having to be used way too much. And you can't go through the year being used the way they're being used. Guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to be unavailable. You're going to have to go down to AAA. Not sure what's going on down in AAA. I can tell you that Stephen Kolek, I don't know if he's pitching tonight, but his first start down there was really good. And Kolek can help this ball club. And if he has another really outstanding effort, I could see him coming up here real quick. But starting pitching's got to be better. You got to go 5 innings a night at least. Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for that guy that can go 6 and 7, but I might be out of luck on that. But I mean, Michael King the other night went 5 2/3. I didn't think he threw great, but he got hung in there, got the win, and his numbers at the end of the night weren't bad. But a lot of traffic. He had to pitch around a lot of traffic the other night. But I think in left field and center field the next couple of weeks. Left field, I think you can get it covered. You got enough of guys that can go out there, but center field is crucial. Who can play defense? Probably Lockridge. I don't necessarily want to put Fernando there. I don't want to start playing musical outfielders. I want to try to keep as much of a set lineup as I possibly can, and I got to keep Fernando on the field. And if you missed it, Fernando left last night. He winced on a swing, left shoulder, then he aggravated it sliding into third base. And Cronenworth left 2 innings earlier with a cramp in his right side from a contusion he suffered on Sunday in Chicago. All right, good questions. I love those. Okay, let's get to Coach's mailbag here. Mike, who would be the best arm to add by the All-Star break? Yeah, Mike, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. These bargain basement guys are one thing, but if there's a good arm who's going to be a free agent, it's a renovet. I don't know how much the Padres have to give up in their farm system. I think we're just going to have to take a wait and see on that. A little bit too early. Don't know what teams are going to be in it, what teams are going to be out of it, who's going to be the sellers, who's going to be the buyers. I think maybe we can approach that probably, towards maybe the end of May. So maybe that's a good question, but I think it's probably a little bit too early right now. But thank you very much. I appreciate you writing in on that. All right, Dan, the injury bug going to come into play with the new injuries of Merrill, Tatis, et cetera. Yeah. And who knows? I mean, Mike Schill may hold his pregame press conference to tell us about something else. Somebody jammed a thumb or twisted an ankle. You never know. I mean, these guys are human beings. They're getting up and down, going to hotels, walking downstairs, walking upstairs, stepping off buses wrong. You never know. I mean, it's weird. I mean, some of the weird injuries. Remember Ricky Bonus, who pitched briefly here in San Diego? He went on the IL because he was sitting in a chair in the clubhouse in Milwaukee and he had a clicker and he reached out to change the channel on the clubhouse TV and he popped a lower back muscle. I mean, weird stuff happens. I mean, Freddie Freeman slipped in the shower at his house the other day and tweaked that surgically repaired ankle. So, I mean, weird stuff happens. But, the Padres today, they got Randy Vasquez, and you know what? Everybody's going to, for the most part, be available out of the bullpen because he's got an off day tomorrow. So it may be Randy Vasquez and staff today. Mike Schill's going to pull all stops to win this game today, to finish up 3-3 on the road trip and come home with a solid record. I mean, sitting at 9-3, you start off 10-3, and you got the Colorado Rockies coming to town. And again, don't underplay Buddy Black's team. They're 2-8, but I guarantee you they'll come in and they'll play the Padres tough. They always do. But man, you come home with a win today and you're sitting at 10-3, you're feeling pretty good about your ball club. That's going to be a nice short flight home from Sacramento and going into an off day. But you got to stay healthy. It all comes down to health. Let's keep them coming. We got any more coaches mailbag today? And again, I encourage you to write questions, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable for me. And I know some of the questions are just fantastic. They're fantastic questions, and you know what? I'll give you the best honest answer I possibly can. But last night, I got to go back. I was so bummed that we didn't see Mike Schilt in the post game. And I know he wouldn't have told us probably anything. Well, it's going to be day to day, or we're going to reevaluate him tomorrow. But I still wanted to see the manager. I didn't see it last night. I was a little bummed. And then, you know what? I'm such a diehard. I don't know why, but I watched like the first 2 innings. They after the post game, after Scan signed off last night, rather than just putting up the next game time, they actually replayed the Padre game again last night. I love when they replay. They replay it after every game now. But I watched like the first 2 innings. I don't know why. I knew the score. I watched the whole game. But I just wanted to watch some things, and I wanted to watch Dylan Cease a little closer mechanically, and just was throwing last night. Had no idea where that ball was going. But you have those nights. Okay. Last thing I wanted to get to, I want to congratulate Florida. Great comeback. They overcame a 12-point deficit. They came back and defeated Houston. I was kind of in my heart pulling for Houston, but I knew Florida, and I've known since about the mid-season point that I thought Florida was the best team in America. I know a lot of people thought Duke, but Florida, too many weapons. But Houston, man, what a great effort by Houston. I mean, Kelvin Sampson had those guys played so hard and ferocious. They just weren't quite as talented, and they couldn't execute down the stretch the other night. But congratulations to Florida winning their third NCAA men's basketball championship. And I remember just a few years ago watching Todd Golden bring USF. He was coaching up at USF for a few years. Bring him down to the Jenny Craig Pavilion, and then all of a sudden the guy gets the Florida job, and bingo, yeah, he wins a national championship. That's a hell of a deal. Okay, now reminder: uh, Friday we're going to be on 9 o'clock. And I want your questions. I want your questions. Again, we got three platforms. We got YouTube, we got Facebook, and we got X. On Facebook, John Kentera. On X, Coach Kentera 44. You can leave your comments. And I really appreciate all the supers out there. I don't, say, hey, you can send us some money this way on supers, but I appreciate anybody that's willing to donate. It helps the cause a great deal. And thank you very much. Again, we'll be back in on Friday morning at 9 a.m. And let's hope the Padres with Randy Vasquez on the mound going against the right-hander Osvaldo Bido. Hopefully the Padres can get the rubber game, get an off day tomorrow, and get ready for Buddy Black's Colorado Rockies at 6:40 on Friday night. Until Friday morning at 9 a.m., Coach John Kentera, have a great day, everyone. Talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.